What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here for the Wrestling Inc. podcast, June 19th edition. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Money in the Bank. There were three men who held the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in a matter of about 3 or 4 minutes. We have Fedor Emelianenko to talk about, WWE contacting some really old-ass people. I am joined by Wrestling Inc. founder Raj Giri and a special guest. We're trying him out. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Steve Muehlhausen, say hi to the people.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? Sean, you got it right, so we're off to a good start.
Success. Guys, this episode of the Wrestling Inc. podcast brought to you by Sunglass Warehouse. I had the opportunity to check out some of their great sunglasses recently. Highly recommended to you folks. A great supporter of this show. They have hundreds of styles starting at just $9.95, and you can save 40% off of your next order when you enter the code WRESTLING, all caps, at sunglasswarehouse.com. Use that code WRESTLING, all caps, to save 40%. Guys, we had a big show tonight.
And real quick, just with the Sunglass Warehouse, they had sent us some sunglasses, and I've been just wearing them nonstop, like when I was golfing today. And and I got a lot of compliments. I got my brother-in-law was asking where to get them, but yeah, they're great. So I definitely recommend checking them out.
Sent me 5 pair, Raj. How many did you get?
I think it's about the same. I think it was 5.
Oh,
and yeah,
I was hoping out.
Of those 5, there are 4 that that I'm rotating between. One's a little too fancy for me, but yeah, the ones are.
Well, I'm rotating between 4, and I gave my fiance the other pair because they were a little feminine.
But, yeah, that might have been the same one I got.
Yeah, but we do have a big WWE show to talk about. Money in the Bank. They had hyped this show up as being the biggest Money in the Bank of all time. Steven, well, you're the new guy around here. Did you think it fit that bill?
At first, I was very baffled on Ambrose winning, and I'm like, okay, if Ambrose is going to win, he's going to cash in tonight. This wasn't going to be something that he was going to cash in on maybe in about 5-6 months. If it was going to happen, tonight seemed to be the night considering what happened last week, and it definitely lived up to its billing tonight. A definite shock with Dean Ambrose walking out WWE champion.
Raj, as I was telling you before we went on the air, I am a Cincinnati guy. I am a Lexington guy, so I absolutely hate when Cleveland gets anything in life, which isn't very often. It's not very often, you guys. But Cincinnati walked away with a world champion tonight too, Raj.
You think they'll be throwing a parade for Dean and the Cavaliers, or just one or the other?
Probably just Dean.
Yeah.
They already burned LeBron's jersey like 6 years ago.
Right.
We've never burned Ambrose Asylum shirts.
Yeah, I'm guessing our traffic in Cleveland's not the greatest tonight because there's probably a lot of celebrating with Dean's big win.
Yeah, I know EC3 is actually out there. Maybe he's handing out 1%ers to everybody. But back to Steven's point. It was I didn't expect it. I thought that was a fantastic, crazy ending, and it definitely throws a lot of puts a lot of stuff in play. But I know we'll come back to that. Yeah, they teased this on the Ambrose Asylum last week. Ambrose straight up said, "I could win, I could cash in, I could beat you." So we'll talk about the match. We'll go in order of importance on this show.
Sure.
Excellent match between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. The evolution of Roman Reigns is really something to behold, Raj. You'll always see those complaints no matter what because of how he started off. But Roman Reigns has developed into an excellent in-ring performer.
Yeah, he's really good. That's why those chants, I know the IWC hates Reigns and everything, but the "you can't wrestle" chant, that's not even, that's not even legitimate. If you chanted like "you can't cut a promo," then yes, you're right. Then you've got a point. But no, that was a great match. I thought Roman held his own. Seth Rollins looked fantastic, with his first match back and since November, and I thought it was really good. I thought for the most part the whole pay-per-view was pretty good. I mean, really good. With a couple of blemishes, but this match I thought was great. The ending was a bit of a surprise. I thought that first pedigree, that was a great false finish. And then when he hit the second, I think a lot of people still expected the kick out. And we got the 3 count, the place erupted. So that was great.
Steven, this was Rollins' first match back in 2016. They really tested this guy's knee out.
They sure did. Did a lot of flips. His usual spots that he did, and I was really surprised he did that much that soon. But we have to remember he was on some house shows. But we all know the house shows. You guys have been to them. I've been to them. Our fans have been to them. That they don't go 110% at house shows, and this was 110% putting a lot of pressure on the knee. And you have to give Seth a lot of credit. You have to give Roman credit, and you guys said it about Roman in general. You know, he gets a lot of flack, and there's times it is deserved, but in this instance, I like the heel tendencies in the beginning of the match. I thought that was a key indicator of how the match was going to go, and I really liked what I saw in that beginning. And then I thought he did well in the rest of the match. But I think you have to give Seth a lot of the credit though for what he did, considering, like you guys said, his first match in 7.5 months.
Yeah, these two guys went at it and really delivered, in my opinion. They didn't hold anything back. And it wasn't the easiest thing to do to follow the Money in the Bank ladder match and AJ Styles versus John Cena. So hats off to them. Seth Rollins won clean as a sheet. He had a great reversal. He reversed a spear into a pedigree. Didn't see that coming. Didn't know you could even pull that off in a world. He later pedigreed Roman Reigns to home the victory. Dean Ambrose then cashed in, showed up from behind Seth Rollins, attacked him, and won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. This has almost happened several times, but he always had the rug kind of pulled out from underneath him. I thought this was really the perfect time because Dean Ambrose winning that Money in the Bank briefcase instantly put some heat back on him. And now after all the beating down that he's been he's received, he's been elevated again. Now, this likely will lead to a Shield triple threat, Raj. I've always said that I think this is a legit WrestleMania main event, but it looks like it's going to happen a whole lot sooner.
Yeah, I can't see them holding it out that long. I don't even know if they'll wait till SummerSlam. I hope so. I think that's a definite SummerSlam-worthy main event. But then if they do that, I guess you could always just do Rollins and Ambrose at Battleground and then lead to a three-way at SummerSlam. But it's like, what if they don't end up on the same rosters in July? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I keep forgetting about the brand split. Yeah, that's absolutely a good point.
And you guys said that correctly there. I thought with, what do you do next? You could go to three-way. I would prefer with you guys to have it as the WrestleMania main event, but it seems like we're going to get it. I would say SummerSlam would be the right spot. I think Battleground is the wrong spot for that. Maybe, like you guys said, maybe Ambrose and Rollins throw Reigns in another feud just for a month, and then you can go back to that match at SummerSlam. I think that's a good idea. It's what they probably will do if big event like that at the Barclays Center, a 4-hour pay-per-view. I think that makes the most sense.
So who could you see Reigns fighting in the interim? Because he's not really had much of a secondary program of late, but I could definitely see them going that route. Ambrose versus Rollins, and then Reigns with another guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could go. I mean, yeah, I guess it all depends on how they want to take this brand extension. I mean, I could see part of the reason why they decided to go in this direction is just looking at the numbers, and the house shows with Dean Ambrose have been drawing about as well as Roman Reigns. Reigns has been the bigger markets. So, this gives them a chance if they wanted to do Ambrose on one side and Reigns on the other. But the way they've done the build over the last couple of weeks, it makes me believe that they're leading to a Shield triple threat, whether that happens at Battleground or SummerSlam.
So I was over the moon being a Cincinnati guy. I've been pretty critical of Dean Ambrose lately. He's not really evolved much in the ring, kind of regressed in my opinion, but a Cincinnati win is a Cincinnati win. Also, this is in his adopted hometown of Las Vegas as well. He moved there. They showed clips of him living there and vignettes and things like that. Now, of course, the second most important match of the night, Rusev versus Titus O'Neil. WWE felt so confident about this matchup, you guys, that this went head-to-head with Game 7, the last 2 minutes. Steven, what did this match do for you?
I went to the bathroom, I grabbed a bottle of water, and I put my clothes that were in the washer, and I put them in the dryer. So that's how much that match meant to me. And then I went upstairs, grabbed a stack of laundry, put it in another laundry basket and put it in the washer. So I started laundry and continued laundry.
That's more interest than I saw from a lot of people in this match. Raj.
Yeah, it was clearly a buffer, and it was in the position where you used to have the Divas matches back in the day. So it was there to kill some time to get people tuning that were done watching Game 7 to come over, finish that, and then watch the main event. So.
Our good buddy Wale was in the front row.
He was, yeah. It was with his kids, with Reigns' kids. I thought Rusev was hilarious.
You mean Titus's kids?
I mean Titus. Yeah, Titus.
I wonder if Titus asked Wale to babysit.
Yeah, maybe. But I thought Rusev was hilarious. That was the highlight.
Him calling Titus a loser. That was the best thing.
That was the best heel thing on the whole show. So props to Rusev.
And I think Titus O'Neil is an excellent person and all that stuff, but they really probably shouldn't have split the primetime players. Not that they were going to do anything magnificent, but he is, in my opinion, a hot tag guy.
Mm-hmm.
So
he just seems lost. I don't like saying the word lost, but there's times in the ring he seems really lost. Like you said, I agree. He's more of a hot tag guy. He's not a guy that can go 10, 11 minutes and. Maybe they will bring back the primetime players with the brain slit. Who knows? But, maybe that's something to think about.
I would love the primetime players with Bob Backlund as a manager. That would be great.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But it would be excellent.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't a smooth match. And considering they've been working on live events, I thought it was going to be a little better. But, it was, in my opinion, this was the worst match on the show. And it wasn't god-awful, but it served its purpose for being the buffer.
We had the Money in the Bank ladder match. In my opinion, this is one of the great Money in the Bank ladder matches I've ever seen. One of the craziest spots I've ever seen. Sami Zayn hit a Michinoku driver onto the edge, the side of the ladder. It has to be seen to be believed. Cesaro got tossed into the edge of a ladder as hard as I've ever seen it. There was a cool spot where they bridged about 3 ladders and everybody was fighting on them. All kinds of crazy spots. Dean Ambrose won. Steven, I want to get your feelings on Dean Ambrose winning the match as a whole. We've had ladder matches for 21 years in the WWE. This one did some pretty new, cool, crazy stuff.
That Michinoku driver, I jumped out of my couch. I felt that in my back as soon as I saw that. That was a great spot there by Zayn and was that Zayn and Owens? If I'm remembering that correctly, that spot was just amazing. And then I thought the spot near the end of how they came up with that convoluted finish with the ladders, in different spots. And we usually sometimes see the 2 ladders on the end. I thought they got a little more creative with the spot with Cesaro and adding the other ladder. But I thought overall a great match. I was disappointed with Ambrose winning. I was just like, okay, he got murdered in that program with Brock. You saw what happened in the match with Hunter in Toronto, and just really didn't feel Ambrose was that hot. That Jericho program, it was okay, but it was nothing to get excited about. So I really wasn't feeling Ambrose at this point. I thought Owens was the right guy in this spot, but they see something in this Shield 3-way that can make them a lot of money, and hopefully WWE is right here, because if they're not, I think they're going to be in more trouble than they already are. I would have went with Owens. It's someone new, somewhat fresh in the title scene, and we went to a guy who's already had a couple title opportunities. So I was disappointed, but the match overall was pretty awesome. Everyone looked really good.
Raj,
I thought the match was great. I always think it looks a little contrived when you see the guys setting up the ladders and it's clear that they're setting it up for something later as opposed to something they're doing right now. And that's why I thought the Del Rio Cesaro, when they were setting the ladders up at the edges, looked a little cheesy. But other than that, I mean, that was a fantastic match, and these guys really beat themselves up. And I thought it was fantastic.
They made Del Rio a face already. He wants to be a baby face so damn bad.
I don't think he knows what he wants. He's I think he's just kind of doing his thing. But they got to do something with Del Rio. But man, I thought all these guys did a great job in this match. I mean, hats off to them. This was one of the best Money in the Bank ladder matches I think they've had.
I agree.
You guys turned Del Rio at this point, because it seemed like, I know that type of market he's going to be over naturally, but It's time. He should have came in after that when he first came back at Hell in a Cell against Cena. That should have been the time they should have kept him as a babyface. Is his momentum lost, or can he bounce back and rebound as a babyface?
I think, well, they screwed him from the beginning. I mean, they put him with Zeb.
Yeah, they should
water.
Keep him as a heel. Bring back Ricardo Rodriguez, and at least it'll add a little something. But yeah,
I think it'll add something for a little while. But I think Ricardo was played out really, really bad around the end too. Like when they were doing the stuff with Jack Swagger, like Ricardo could not hang with Zeb Coulter. It was really, really. It was rough, but I mean, I think it would freshen him up for a little bit at least.
Yeah, have him with Paige. They're dating. Why not have that'd be a real life odd couple. It would be just, it'd be something different.
They both need something.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, she's trying to, get him more goth, and he's this human proper, guy. It could,
God,
something there.
They'll put him in guy liner, and he'll look like Count Chocula.
Actually, might be onto something.
Oh man! So AJ Styles versus John Cena, 5-star match, 0-star finish.
Ugh.
These guys went at it. They had an amazing match. Told a great story from the jump. Everything that John Cena did, he tried to pull out all of his old tricks. None of them worked on AJ Styles. The end of the match comes. We get a terrible ref bump. I'm talking like bad ref bump. Then we get Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows, they hit the Magic Killer on John Cena. I needed to de-stress myself after this. I was so angry. I was so frustrated that I had to go to ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc and get a great deal on DDP Yoga. You too can get a great deal on ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. If you go there, you buy the Max Pack, you get 3 free months of the DDP Yoga Now app. You can work out on the road, and you can see how it helped out guys like Jake the Snake Roberts and Scott Hall in the resurrection of Jake the Snake. Now available on Vudu, Amazon, Google Play. Video on demand everywhere, Blu-ray, DVD, and on Netflix. It has a 5-star rating. Hot damn. Check out some ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. This finish, Steven.
Wow.
What'd you think?
Like you said, match was, I would even go 10 stars. The match was that good, but the finish, negative infinity and beyond stars. And this has always been my problem with WWE when it comes to Cena. He can take a clean loss. He's John Cena. He's the man. He's the poster boy for WWE. A guy you need to get over, a guy you're also paying a lot of money to, and AJ Styles, who's over with the crowd, even as a heel. The fans really don't buy it too much. And you give him a pissant finish, which was absolutely ridiculous. And that did Styles really no favors. That made him look like Rusev. And, you're putting this guy in a high-profile spot, and you're making him look like Rusev or Zack Ryder, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
Raj.
Yeah, I thought. I think ultimately it did nothing for anybody at the end. But I thought the match was good. I wouldn't say it was 5 stars, but I thought it was really good. But yeah, I mean,
it was a segue, Raj.
Yeah, I gotcha. But I just think, like, is that the best you could come up with to get out of that finish, to get Cena to lose? Is that, with the 30 guys you have in creative, is that all you could do? I mean, just creatively, that's just the bottom of the barrel, having the club come out and interfere, and that's it. So I just thought that was really weak. I'm fine with Cena losing due to interference, but at least make it creative, do something different. But the way they did it, I thought, was just nothing interesting, nothing creative, and just left a damper on the whole match.
Like I would have loved if they tried to interfere and Styles was like, no, but he still took advantage of them being there somehow.
Yeah.
And it's like he did the dastardly heel thing. I thought this match was incredible. Obviously, they're going to have a rematch. You can go there. Also, I want to point out, JBL did a hell of a job in this match, something that he doesn't usually do. He wasn't all, ha-ha, I love it, all that crap. He actually reflected the way that fans felt after that finish. He said, we've been told that we were waiting for this match for 15 years, and that's how it ends, that's ridiculous. That's crap. I thought that, this is a very rare occasion of JBL actually reflecting the fans' views.
I gotta think that Vince was in his ear for that. I bet, just to put over that Cena didn't really lose, that he took the cheap way out and wanting to get everybody mad about it. And I gotta think that was coming from Vince.
Oh, that was a Vince call all the way, and I wish we'd see more of that out of Layfield, though. It's the one thing I used to love when he first started was just that raw emotion, not what we get a lot of the contrived act from him, and I wish Vince would kind of let him be who he was to get in this position, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But no, the match was awesome, and like you said, Raj, 30 guys in creative. You can't tell me out of 30 guys you can't come up with something creative for a match like this that you really hyped up. I think we should write for WWE. That's what I think, in my opinion.
I saw somebody tweet that if this were in the Invasion era, that John Cena would have beat Styles in 5 minutes, then shoved cake in his face for comedy, which would have happened.
Yeah, I could see that.
We had Apollo Crews versus Sheamus. So this match was okay. I didn't have anything against this match.
I thought it was fine, and it's interesting looking at the matches tonight on the site. That one had a decent amount of interest, more than almost any others other than the top matches, which kind of surprised me. But yeah, I thought Apollo Crews did some cool moves. He needs
finally.
Yeah.
We saw it all the time on the independent circuit, and he didn't bust any out. That moonsault from the apron to the floor was probably his WWE career highlight so far.
Well, which is good, Don't be doing those moves all the time. Save them for the big matches and pay-per-views and stuff, so you get people to react and they stand out. But yeah, I thought he looked good. I think I called all these winners on our Monday night podcast this last Monday. But yeah, I think it was the right guy winning. I'm sure this is going to continue. It's not over yet, but I thought the ending, the finish was pretty creative. So I dug it. It wasn't the typical arguing with the ref roll up. It was a little bit different. So I like that. So I thought this was a good match.
WWE went through a really weird period where it seemed like every match was a roll up. Then they went through a weird period of late where nothing ended spontaneously, and now we had the Sami Zayn win with the sunset flip on Raw, and then this. Also, Sheamus hit a really cool white noise off the second rope, or I think it was a white noise off the second rope. Steven, what did you think of this match?
I was really fond of the match. I like the fact he got not the greatest reaction in the world, but I thought a modest reaction, which I thought was really surprised by considering what I had seen on Raw, and he looked good here. I think he's starting to finally get into a rhythm a little bit. I've seen each week he's getting better, and that's what we want to see from him. We want to see new stars, and I'm not fond of Sheamus lately as a worker, but I thought Sheamus did a really good job here in this role, and I thought that, like you said, the finish was very unique, and this program will continue. Crews will have to come out on top, but I thought overall, for what it was, I thought it was a good match.
We had a tag team match, Natalya and Becky Lynch versus Charlotte and Dana Brooke. Charlotte and Dana Brooke won. There's really not much story to that, but the real story, Natalya turned heel. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I kind of saw some things that was like, that's kind of heelish out of it. Like some of the cheesy stuff on the pre-show, it's like, that's kind of weird. But they have always made Natalya and Becky look so corny that I was just like, okay, this is business as usual. We haven't really seen Natalya as a heel, really ever. Kind of maybe a little bit during the Hart Dynasty, maybe. Or did Divas of Doom?
With Beth Phoenix, she was a heel there for a bit.
Yeah. But people still kind of wanted to like them because they were so different than the divas that were being given to us. Raj, how do you think that a heel Natalya will work as a singles?
I think it's great. I think you need more strong heels. They don't really. I mean, really, Charlotte's the only strong heel that they have on the women's side. So I think it's great. It gives Becky something to do. It gives both of them something to do. You could pair her up against Sasha Banks too. You figured with this match, it was just so pointless from the beginning. Just having a tag match with the champion, and she's beaten both the people on the other team. Now you figured it had to be like, a setup for someone coming back or something to happen, and it did. And yeah, I thought it was cool, and it should be interesting.
Steven, your thoughts?
No, it was good. I really liked. I didn't see much in the match. I went and took out my dogs, because I was like, because like you said, Sean, the match was match didn't make a lot of sense just to begin with. And you look at the heel turn, I thought it was great. She went from crying, you're feeling bad for him, bam. And that's what we want to see out of Natalya more. She's losing a lot, she's crying a lot. I liked how she attacked her, kicked her butt, and then was going back to crying. I want to see that range from her. I thought her range as a character was very limited for a while, but now I really like what I see out of this character, and I'm very interested to see her going forward. Maybe a singles match with Becky, like what Raj was saying, maybe with something with Sasha. But I think this range with Natalya is going to be good for her in the long run.
Natalya got I don't want to say a unique reaction. It's the reaction you're supposed to get with a heel turn, where the crowd collectively gasps. You don't hear that a lot anymore because people either see it coming or they don't give a shit. But they cared. They cared tonight. So definitely good for that. Baron Corbin against Dolph Ziggler for, I think this is their 39th match in the past few months. They weren't on the kickoff show. This got boring chants. Personally, wasn't my type of match, Raj.
Yeah, I mean, they tried, and I didn't think it was a bad match, but I could totally see why the crowd crapped on it. You've seen it over and over. There's been no real twists and turns to keep warranting, a match over and over. So I think the crowd is sick of this feud, and they let it known, and hopefully, and I feel like every time I say this, they do it the next night on Raw. Excuse me, but hopefully this is the end.
I think they're listening to you, Raj. They keep hearing you say, I don't want to see this again. They go back and give it to you the next night. But no, it was the same thing. It was hard to stay awake. The eyes, were getting a little heavy. It was like we've seen this match 50 times, and it's doing nothing for Corbin at this point. It's really not. Yeah. They brought him up, and what are you doing with it? No offense, I like Ziggler as a worker. I think we all can agree that we do, but instead of dancing him anywhere, let's get this feud over with and go somewhere else.
I'm a big fan of kicking people in the wiener, so this feud was my kind of feud.
That was the highlight. That was the highlight of the feud.
We had a fatal four-way for the tag team titles: Enzo and Cass, Vaudevillains, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, and the New Day. There was good and bad to this match, in my opinion. It was fast and furious. There were a lot of sloppy spots, but when it's 8 guys fighting it out, there's going to be sloppy spots. You have to choreograph it to a certain degree. Because I'm sure you're going to hear people say there was no psychology in the ladder match. Hard to do psychology in a ladder match because you never know how somebody's going to react. Hard to do psychology in this, but there were spots where people thought that the ref counted 3, but Las Vegas can't count right. There are questions as to whether or not Aiden English was even the legal man in the match when he got pinned. There was a really clunky spot at the end, but altogether, I really enjoyed this match. It makes me want to see Enzo and Cass versus New Day, but they'll probably end up on different rosters soon. Steven, your thoughts on the match?
I love this match. It was after the big 3 matches, this was my favorite match on the show. If I had to pair going through 4, this was my 4th favorite match, just because, like you said, with all the teams, I think even the Vaudevillains have grown. I think in the last few weeks, and like you said, it's hard to do a 4-way. It really is. Tell a storyline. You can make more or less. It's not a spot fest, but everyone has to get in their stuff, and this was the right finish. And I was very baffled at the end. I thought English was I was like, who was the legal man? Was it Anderson? Was it English? What was exactly going on there? And English took the fall. But beyond the convoluted finish, overall, it was a good match. And it leads to, I think, maybe Big Cass and Enzo against New Day. And then maybe you get to SummerSlam and you go Gallows and Anderson against the New Day. It's kind of where I see them going at this point.
I thought it was I feel like anytime you got New Day and Enzo and Cass, like the promos are the most memorable part. I thought the match was good, but I thought New Day, they had some great lines about the Vaudevillains, being the Monopoly guys, and I thought Enzo and Cass were great, and you could tell when New Day started ripping on Enzo and Cass that the fans they weren't digging that. But yeah, it was a fun match. It was a good opener, and yeah, I think it was the right finish. You know, the Vaudevillains released over. So yeah, and New Day, you know, they should have won. I think it makes sense now to have them keep the titles through SummerSlam, or lose them at SummerSlam.
I think New Day have improved so much as baby faces. Like for the first several months with them as baby faces, it seemed like they were trying so hard, but it was really corny. I think they've done a much better job as baby faces. And Enzo and Cass, their future is so bright that they're going to have to go to sunglasswarehouse.com, your one-stop shop for high-quality sunglasses at discount prices. They have hundreds of styles, starting at just $9.95, including this summer's hottest sunglass styles for men and women in a wide range of colors and lens tints. They have polarized sunglasses, aviators, retros, sports styles, more. Sunglasswarehouse.com has quality sunglasses to fit your lifestyle, protect your eyes, and keep your style on par. 100% UV protection on all frames, free shipping on orders over $25, same-day shipping available on most orders received before 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Like me and Raj said, they sent us some great sunglasses. I love them. I keep a pair in the car. I keep a pair in the house. Gave my fiance a pair. She loves them. And you can visit sunglasswarehouse.com and use the code WRESTLING at checkout for 40% off on your next order. They have a great customer service team. You get no hassle returns. If you're not 100% satisfied with your purchase, they will give you a full refund. Sunglasswarehouse.com, use that code WRESTLING and save 40%. We definitely want to thank Sunglasswarehouse.com for their support. And I want to thank myself for that segue.
Not bad, man. That was what
chills. That's a Game 7 level segue.
That was. I did not see that one coming. You got me. That was good. Good stuff.
Two other things coming out of that match I thought were, what was Enzo wearing? And I liked the nice little comment that Xavier made about the Elite to Gallows and Anderson. I got a nice little chuckle when he said that and then kind of did a little tongue thing. Maybe I was just reading. That little tongue, he was like, ah. When he talked about the Elite, I'm like, I think not many people got it, but it was funny. And
I love the New Day and Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson taking shots at each other. I think that's great. It's underrated, and you never know what's going to happen with the landscape of wrestling the way it is now. And who knows who WWE is going to go after when their contracts are up. Speaking of, we'll wait and talk about the people that they contacted, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I agree. I like the Elite and New Day stuff. We also had Dudley Boys versus Lucha Dragons. We don't have to really get into this match too much. Lucha Dragons won. Raj, did you think that was the right call?
Sure.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, I guess they are the younger team. Why not? That's fine.
We won't even really talk that much about this. Yeah. The highlight of Money in the Bank, guys. I have turned corner on Golden Truth and Breezango. This tanning gimmick. This tanning gimmick. Golden Truth made Breeze and Fandango, whom were tanning together, by the way, stay in so long that they got sunburns, which was this entire match.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I don't know why. It's one of the things you just chuckle and laugh, and then when they get chopped, it's even more funny.
Breezango is great. I love Breezango. They can do no wrong in my eyes. They lost via sunburn moves and things like that. So that was Money in the Bank. Raj, did it live up to the best Money in the Bank pay-per-view of all time?
Nah, I think that's probably always going to be the CM Punk John Cena one unless they get something that just blows it out of the park. But it's close. I thought it was really good. I think it's up there. It wasn't a WrestleMania-like event, but it was really good. Big surprises, very eventful. So you got to give it a big thumbs up. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10.
The best thing about that CM Punk Money in the Bank pay-per-view was I don't know if you remember the Big Show and Hornswoggle poster.
No.
Of them in like nightcaps reading like a bedtime story. Go to the Money in the Bank Wikipedia page. It's on there.
I must have blocked that out of my memory. So.
It was good stuff. Steve, what did you think of the pay-per-view as a whole?
Overall, I thought it was a good pay-per-view. I thought four of those matches, I thought you can even throw in the Cruz Sheamus match was decent. So I can go 7.7 or 7.5 out of 10. Overall, a good show. Was it the best? No, but it was still highly up there. Though it was, I would say 3 or 4 all time. I'd have to say, at least third.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a pretty good show. And so we're going to talk about these people that WWE contacted. WWE has been contacting a lot of elder statesmen, to say the least. Carlito, who could be nothing but a help to the Shining Stars at this point. Steven Richards, who I should have used for ddpyoga.com/Wrestling Inc. segue. And MVP. It looks like they're going for a little bit of a roster facelift, kind of like the facelift all of you can get at trendybutler.com. That's right. If you hate clothes shopping like I do, go to trendybutler.com, a fantastic clothing service that does all the work for you. You select the style profile based on your favorite colors, patterns, what you like to wear, what you don't like to wear, and their stylist will pick out the clothes for you. At only $65, you get over $150 worth of custom, well, not custom, but designer clothes. They have a great staff there that help pick things out. As you've seen in the podcast, guys, my first box they sent to me had over $200 worth of designer clothes. And you can use the code Wrestling10, all caps, to save $10 on your first order. Go to trendybutler.com.
Good segue.
Ooh. The advertisers love us, guys. But, yeah, they contacted MVP as well. Now, my first thought when I heard this is like, maybe they could call Cody Rhodes, Ryback, and Damian Sandow and see if they got anything for those guys. Raj, your thoughts on their selections?
Yeah, I mean they're gonna have to add some depth to those rosters. You know, you got 5 hours of television. I mean, you got, the last time they really did the brand split where you really had 2 separate rosters, Raw was 2 hours. So, I'm all for them bringing more people back, but yeah, exactly. They got rid of Cody and Ryback and King Barrett, even though that seemed like that was more of it by his own accord. But that's the talent they should go to first. Granted, they only released him a month and a half ago, but still, that's where your future is. If you got a new era, you want the younger guys. Not a bunch of guys that are over 40. But there is value in guys like MVP and Carlito, and I'd rather see Carlito than the Shining Stars. So,
maybe he can show up and just knock some sense into them and say, "You're not cool. This isn't cool."
Yeah.
Just maybe salvage something out of this. Steven, any of these guys doing anything for you?
No. As soon as I heard that, it's like, why do we get rid of Cody? Why, like you said, Ryback? Guys, younger guys that have value. Why are we going to bring back? And it's no offense to these 3 guys, but why these guys have no value? You shouldn't have got rid of the other 3 to begin with. Them.
I think all 3 of the guys they got rid of have more upside than the 3 that we mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more. So, and who knows? Maybe they will. I think all those guys didn't leave on the best of terms. So we'll have to see about that.
Also, we haven't talked.
Weird. No, I was just gonna say it's weird to see guys like Stevie Richards in 2016 possibly being back in WWE. It just doesn't really. Carlito, okay, MVP. He has some value, but Stevie Richards has absolutely no value whatsoever.
Yeah, I can't see what they would do. I just don't see, especially when you have so many guys in NXT. Like, I don't know what Stevie Richards, in all respect to him, what he could do that a Ty Dillinger just wouldn't fit on the main roster. It's like, I get it. You want him to work with some inexperienced guys. Ty Dillinger can do that. Save some money. Also, Jerry Lawler got arrested last week. He has been suspended by the WWE for a domestic incident. I believe his girlfriend was also arrested.
Yeah, they were both arrested, both released. Yeah,
You think he's done?
I think so. You know, I mean, the legal process is going to take its course, but by the time it does, I mean, you got to figure they're probably going to bring in Corey Graves to take his place on SmackDown. I mean, that seems like a natural fit. And if they do, I just can't see them going back.
You know what's crazy? When Bobby Heenan was 56, he was deemed too old for WWE when WCW got bought out.
Well, look
Jerry Lawler is 66.
Look at Jim Ross. You know, they pushed him out because of a big part of it was his age. So, yeah, I just don't see it. I think we might have heard him call his last match in WWE.
I think so too. And it's a shame because he was really getting into a rhythm since he started teaming with Morrow. I really liked what he had went back to, and it's. We know no one condones domestic violence. We don't know alleged domestic violence. We don't know what happened, but I think it is the last time we see him. It would be a shame if he went out on that note. But you put yourself in positions like that. Unfortunately, WWE has to react. So I think it's the last we do see of the King.
Yeah, I think if assuming if what she said is right, then he deserves to be gone forever. But if the violence part of it didn't happen, then it really sucks for him. But that's the hand he was dealt, I guess. I mean, he's had an amazing career. I mean, he's been calling Raw since what, 93?
On and off, yeah.
Just sucks that this is the way to go out.
So that's the wrestling news. For those of you who are MMA fans, I don't know if you all saw the return of Fedor Emelianenko. He faced Fabio Maldonado, former UFC fighter, former UFC light heavyweight fighter. And by all means, Fabio Maldonado could have won this fight twice in the first round and somehow ended up losing a split decision. I know Raj doesn't get to check it out. Steve, I thought this, at worst for Maldonado, was a draw. But when Fedor is the head of a Russian MMA federation that appoints judges to his fights, stuff like this is going to happen, which is why it doesn't happen in America. There are a lot of people that are like, Fedor needs to come to the UFC to cement his legacy. I think it liquefies the cement on his legacy and digs it up and throws it out, because for so long it's like as soon as he went to America, he started having some trouble. After that Tim Sylvia fight, he had some trouble. He had trouble with Brett Rogers. He lost 3 straight in Strikeforce. He went and fought some cans and retired. Passed up fighting Brock Lesnar. Came back and is almost beaten by Fabio Maldonado. I want your feelings on this entire situation and what this says about Fedor, what it means for Fedor, Steve.
I thought the fight, like you said, Sean, no worse than a draw. That first round, that was hard to watch. It seemed like Fedor was going to finish him right away, but no one remembers this. Maldonado's only been finished 2 times in 31 fights. Right off the bat, you're going to have to hit him flush, and you're going to have to hit him flush a couple times for him to get stopped. And, I think also some of it, guys, is due to the fact that this is only his second fight in 4 years. I don't care who it is. The first fight lasted about 2 minutes against a guy who had no reason to be in the ring with him to begin with. And 2 fights in 4 years, Maldonado, even at this stage, he's a light heavyweight, but it's no joke. He can hit. He's got the heart of a lion. The guy's only been stopped 2 times in 31 fights. Is he done? I think it's a little too much to say. I would like to see maybe one more fight, then come to the UFC. He's going to come. UFC officials, and I've talked with them on and off, and the offer's there. It's just, will Fedor bend on a couple things?
They made him a great offer, the best financial offer he's ever had. And
a new offer. They made him a new offer a couple weeks ago, and they haven't agreed yet. They're still going back and forth on a couple little finer points. But I think now, if he's going to come, the ball's in the UFC's court here, and it's just a matter of them wanting him. It's at that stage where he needs them more than they need him.
Oh yeah,
I just don't see the value really, in bringing him in. I don't see what big fight you have that would make a Fedor. Yeah, unless it's Brock.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, because otherwise, you're going to pay all this money to Fedor, who hasn't looked good in a long time. I mean, he hasn't looked good since before Strikeforce, really. You remember Brett Rogers gave him a run, in Strikeforce, and Brett Rogers, it was like
changing tires at Walmart.
Exactly. He wasn't. He's not. No one would confuse him for a top 20 heavyweight. So he hasn't looked good since his Pride days. So I just don't see the point of bringing him in just to bring him in, unless it was for a fight with someone like Brock. And if Brock beat Mark Hunt, and he, WWE, they have that agreement that he could do another fight, which I'd be surprised if they did, but then again, I'm surprised that they did this one. Then that would be a fight to make.
It's just weird in this point because, like you said, Raj, does he have value? Yeah, for one fight. But I think maybe he could be good for the first fight. It could be against anybody, whether it's like a Stefan Struve or a guy among that caliber. I can go along with it because I think that's a fight he'd not easily win, but I think it's a fight he'd be able to handle pretty well. And then, like you said, maybe if WWE allows Brock to take another fight in the UFC, I think maybe then you can go that route. But it's hard. He has that mystique about him that fans, for some reason, love, and I'm still mystified by it as well. As he hasn't been the Fedor of old in over 10 years, and fans still flock. Fans still watch the shows. They still buy tickets. He's got a weird mystique about him. I think he'd be good. It's like CM Punk. I think CM Punk has a 2-fight shelf life in terms of value, and it's all dependent on what the result will be. And I think Fedor's in that same spot with the UFC, but it's a very fluid situation. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, somehow the UFC sale is progressing very quickly. Very quickly. I wouldn't be shocked if by UFC 100 or UFC 200 we got some major news, because I keep hearing all this stuff, and I got people who otherwise wouldn't even be talking MMA to me, sending me information about this. The UFC sale, Lorenzo Fertitta and Frank Fertitta, this could go down as one of the greatest investments ever in time, ever. Especially for Dana White, who didn't really have to put up much, and he's going to cash out with whatever he's made thus far through the first sale, and if he gets shares, another cash out possibly down the line.
Yeah,
this could be big.
It could be big for them. I don't see it as a improvement for MMA fans.
Oh no.
I think it's kind of scary for MMA. Unless Dana stays on, you've seen all these companies come and go, and the UFC, through the decisions they've made, a lot of them big controversial, but ultimately they've been on an upward trajectory for a long time, and it's a big risk. So
this is the right time for them to get out too, because the business model of MMA and the UFC in particular is going to change sooner or later with the complaints of fighter pay and sponsors and all this stuff. Things are going to change sooner or later, whether it's a fighters union, whatever it is. Steven, do you think this is the right time for the Fertittas and Dana White to cash out, even if Dana White sticks around in some sort of role?
You hit it on the head. They're at a high point. They're at their biggest ceiling. Last year they grossed over $600 million, and this year is trending really well. You look at 196, did fantastic. 200 is going to do awesome. 202 is going to do awesome. You got Madison Square Garden, the end of the year show. The second half of the year is going to be phenomenal for the UFC. They're selling high. They're still $4.1 billion this is going to be sold for, and they bought it for $2 million. It is highway robbery. If you just look at the numbers and bolts, and Dana White's going to end up a gazillionaire. And I like what you said, Raj, because that's what I've been hearing from a lot of fans, that this situation, will MMA be the same? It's like WWE. It's like pro wrestling in general. You look at promotions like TNA, and you look at other promotions that have been around. No one can do what Vince McMahon did. Bellator is trying to do right now what the UFC is doing, World Series of Fighting. But when Bodog was around, Pride was around. There's only a certain amount of people that can do what they do when the Fertittas and Vince McMahon are at the top of the heap, and it's going to be very difficult, I think, once Dana White does leave the sunset.
Yeah, I mean,
MMA is going to, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, Bellator has done a good job of getting good ratings for their events, but they haven't created any new stars. It's not like they created a Ronda Rousey or it's been all off the backs of guys like Kimbo Slice and Tito Ortiz and Ken Shamrock. So no one has really shown the ability to create new stars, and like the UFC has. So it just shows that they know what they're doing, and these other guys, they can get good ratings here and there, but they're not. The future of the sport isn't safe in their hands.
No, not at all. I can go from being, and someone made this comparison, a second tier sport to now I can go back to being a fringe sport in a very quick amount of time if the right person isn't running it. And I can honestly see that if this sale does go through in the next couple months.
We'll answer a few questions before we go. Somebody says, how long do you think it will be till the title picture doesn't involve a Shield member? Oh, gosh. It may be a long, long time.
Wait, how long the world title picture will go without a Shield member?
Yes.
Well, it depends. If you get the Shield guys on one show and you got another world title, so you got at least on one, if you mean completely out of either world title picture, then yeah, it could be a really long time. I mean, who else do you got really to put in there other than Cena and Orton?
And they seem happy to leave Cena out of that picture.
Yeah, and Lesnar, of course, and I actually wouldn't mind seeing another Lesnar title reign.
Let's see here. Somebody said, okay, I got to address this just because I'm sick of it. Somebody says Sid deleted all of his anti-WWE tweets. That ain't Sid's account, guys. That is a fake Sid account. His son confirmed it. I think Matt Hardy confirmed it. A ton of people confirmed it. That Psycho Vicious account that has like 75,000 people and says a bunch of dumb shit all the time, it's not Sid. I know the dumb stuff it says sometimes can make you think it's Sid, but it is not Sid.
I could have sworn I saw him tweet a picture though once.
Oh, he did, but it wasn't him. It was not him. His son confirmed it on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Sid at all.
Does he have a Twitter or anything, or
nope?
Any social?
Nope. Somebody says, do you think New Day will beat Demolition's record? If the roster's split, it could be a possibility.
Well, Demolition doesn't have the record, right? Isn't it
yeah,
like
I think
Paul London and Brian Kendrick?
For this set of titles, yeah, but WWE, like forever, their tag team, just like their tag team history, Demolition has the record. But this particular set of titles, the lineage is like Paul London and Brian Kendrick.
So what was Demolition's? They won it at 4 and they lost it like well after 5. So it was a year and a half. Yeah, I don't see New Day beating that unless if you combine their reigns, they probably will. Because I'm sure this isn't going to be the last New Day title reign, but I can't see them going a year and a half with those belts.
And the thing is, by all means, they should be at over 400 days right now. That Primetime Players reign last year was beyond pointless.
Yeah, it was just a way to just keep that feud alive by switching the belts. But yeah, I mean, people have already forgotten about that title reign. So yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to look up Demolition, see exactly how long it was. It was 478 days. They won it at WrestleMania 4, and they lost it in July of 1989.
Was it July?
Yeah.
I thought that can't be right.
Yeah, and then
to the Brainbusters. That's right.
Yeah, and then they
lost it to That's
right. They really because I mean they were pretty much the champions from like March of '88 till like summer of 1990, but had the reign interrupted a couple times.
And that was more to just kind of switch it back to them,
Yeah.
And so that's it's crazy to think about like. I mean, how much the tag titles meant back then, and to New Day's credit, it means more now than it has in a long time.
Somebody says, "Why do I feel like they made Ambrose champ so Lesnar can come back by SummerSlam and destroy him?" I think this kind of makes me feel like Ambrose not winning somehow at WrestleMania a little dumber. Because if Lesnar beats Mark Hunt in an MMA fight, Ain't nobody going to remember WrestleMania for Brock Lesnar, but they would remember it for Dean Ambrose. You'd be able to put some fire behind Dean Ambrose on that, but it wouldn't hurt Brock Lesnar, really. Steve, what do you think?
Can you say that one more time? I had a brain cramp there for a second. I apologize.
Somebody asks if putting the title on Ambrose means they're just going to have Lesnar come back and destroy him.
You know what? That isn't as far-fetched as we make it out to be, because if Brock Lesnar beats Mark Hunt at UFC 200, Brock Lesnar's already quite arguably your biggest star. He will be the mega star because he went into the real fight world, won a fight. He's going to be more legit than he already is, and going to be more mainstream than he already is. And WWE would be dumb not to capitalize on it. They've done a lot of dumb stuff with Brock Lesnar, don't get me wrong. But this would be the icing on the cake if they would not give him another run with the title like you brought up earlier, Raj. I think they have to at that point. If it's Ambrose, it's Ambrose. If it's Reigns, it's Reigns. If it's Rollins, it's Rollins.
I just don't see Ambrose and Lesnar having that marquee value for like a SummerSlam main event. I think Reigns does more. So I don't think they did it just for that. I honestly don't think they have any concrete plans for Lesnar until after UFC 200.
They shouldn't, I think.
Yeah.
Guys, that is it for the show. We want to thank sunglasswarehouse.com. Use that code WRESTLING. TrendyButler.com. Use the code WRESTLING10. And, of course, DDPYoga.com/WrestlingInc. And the resurrection of Jake the Snake. We will be back tomorrow night after Raw. Until next time, guys, we are out.